we had disturbing reports emerging from Western Jamaica of inappropriate adult behavior inside shelters in full view of children, more than 6 months after the passage of Hurricane Melissa. It is troubling, not because of what happened, but because of what it reveals. And so tonight, I want to ask a difficult question. What happens when survival systems outlive survival behavior? Survival systems outliving survival behavior. Shelters are meant to be temporary. Shelters are a bridge between crisis and recovery. Shelters are not a destination. They're not a lifestyle. So why are people still there months after? Yes, we can ask about government systems. We can question efficiency. But tonight, I want to turn the lens inward. Because responsibility is not a detachable burden that you shift to the shoulders of others. It is a personal covenant. And in that regard, I want to show you something about the sociology of dependence. In sociology, there is a concept called learned independence. Learned independence is where prolonged reliance on external support systems weaken individual initiative. A mother does not keep a child on her breast at 10 years old. Learned dependence. Because it's not because people are incapable, but because systems over time can unintentionally reshape behavior. When aid becomes routine, then urgency fades. When structure is provided, self-structure can erode. Adam Smith speaks of the poverty of aspirations. And it is an uncomfortable truth. But support should stabilize you, not substitute for you. Support is to stabilize you, not a substitute. Now, reports suggest that some individuals in these shelters are able-bodied. Them no Them not sick. And so we must ask carefully and honestly, if there is energy for indulgence, in other words, they are capable of having sex, is there not capacity to do anything else? If they have time for distraction and for fun and for pleasure, is there not time for direction? This is not condemnation, you know. It is confrontation with reality. Because human beings by nature are survivors. History has shown us this again and again. You pick me up, you knock me down. I bounce right back. What a hard man for dead. And so when survival stalls, we must ask, has something interrupted the will to rise? Something has interrupted these people's will. I'm going to give you a personal story. Near where I live, you see, we opened a church to shelter during a storm. Now, one would consider the church a sacred space, open in compassion. But what followed shocked everyone. Reports emerged that the people were engaging in sexual activity inside of the church. As a matter of fact, they were defecating inside there. And the question was not just about behavior. It was about values. What is it that we preserve when everything else is lost? Did the hurricane take away your value? Did it blow away your dignity? Something has interrupted the will of these people to rise. Because even in hardship, there are lines that should not be crossed. Not because society is watching, but because character remains. The hurricane no blow away your character, it no blow away your values, it no blow away your will. To be human, you know, is not just to exist. To be human is to choose, to act, to respond, to build meaning even in adversity. So we ask provocative questions, not to shame anyone, but to awaken something in the consciousness of those of you who are listening to me and probably are close to the situation. Is it possible that some individuals long before the storm had not built the foundations needed to recover after it? Because no matter how fast, after 6 months, man, you should be able to pick yourself up. What is happening to these people? The will to survive. the ambition. Because not just financial foundations, you know. We're not talking about money. We're talking about mental, social, and the moral fiber in your being. Because if it is that these people have lost all of that, then the storm did not create that. The storm did not create that crisis for these people. What the storm did was it revealed the crisis these people were in. I hope you get that. Melissa did not create the crisis for these people. What Melissa did was to open up the condition that these people are in. So bad is their situation that after 6 months, they can't even leave out of the school. That's not a result of the storm, brothers and sisters. That is a result of the personal decisions that these people have made all their lives. It is a very serious situation. Because there is no way I could see myself living in a school. What is happening to these people? There are those who argue that decades of patronage politics, systems where support is exchanged for loyalty, may have shaped a culture of dependence in some communities. That is the politics, the political and psychological layer. Because the psychology of it is I will wait. I will wait because help will come. Not I will get up, but I will wait. And over time, waiting becomes a way of life. And initiative becomes optional. And whether it is under the People's National Party, which predominantly is the party responsible for these people's condition, empowerment cannot grow where dependency is constantly rewarded. You can't empower a people when you reward dependency. Don't do it. This is not a problem of Melissa. It's a problem of the political and psychological mistakes that we have made. Storms will come, more storms will come. They don't last, they pass. The resilient spirit of people is to pick themselves up and get on with their lives. Men have survived for days, for weeks at sea. You are born with that. The will to do it. This is a failure of the politics that we have practiced. And now we come wanting to blame government. You tell me, how on God's earth you sit down in our school 6 months Baby are go born at the school. Because if we're having sex there, babies will born in there, and baby take what, 9 months? Let me tell you something. This may sound harsh, but everyone should be told to leave the school now. You need a little help? We're going to give you a little help, but you have to leave. Where you go? Well, that is a different argument. You just can't stay here, so. I mean, you know, have you ever, I don't know if you have ever had this situation where you give someone a little space in your house. You give someone a little space in your house, and they took up residence. A man call you and say, you know, we can stay with you for 2 weeks, and you say, all right. You know, me I give you 2 weeks to sort out yourself. And you people take over your house. Lay down there. No, sir. You have to lock the door. Take them up, put them your suitcase out of your gate and see if they not have to pick it up and move on. The storm did not create the crisis. The storm revealed the crisis. Take the people them out of the school, put them down out of the gate with them suitcase, and give them the help and let them go and build back their lives. You know, we are the only species that spoil our young. You know, molt man. People are going to tell me that I am insensitive. It's not insensitive. He said that responsibility, you see, is not a detachable burden that you shift to the shoulders of others. Fate, fortune. In the time of astrology, they unload it on a star. It's the same thing where you see people lie down, have baby, and depend upon path. And the same thing. You cannot empower people and you reward dependency. You can't do it. The minister has set the 8th of May for them to leave. When the 8th of May come, you have to come out. It is a collective failure. But not the one you think. It is easy, very easy, to blame the government. But I want you, my listeners, to consider a hard truth. It is a failure of the individuals. It is a failure of the individuals in the school. Those are lives that have failed themselves. A failure to transition from aid to action. I cannot see my mother keeping us in any school. Even if our house was blown totally flat to the ground, we would have long left that school. The mother that grew me would have picked up pieces of board, pieces of zinc. I could never see my mother in any school with her children having sex. Couldn't see my mother doing that. That's not the Jamaica that I grew up in. We would have long built back our house. Dignity is not given, you know. dignity is reclaimed. And I call upon these people in that shelter to reclaim your dignity. Good God Almighty, man. Get up out of the school. But you're in there having sex. If you have strength to sex, you know, must have strength to get up and do something, do. Get up out of the school, man. Sitting down waiting for a handout and for people to come and provide relief. Build back your house where you were living before. Is it still flooded? Where the zinc and the board? And what is happening here? And I see some people talking about government wicked. How is the government wicked? So what do we do? First, we restore expectations. We must set the timeline. The minister, having done so, must not go back on his word. The 8th of May, when the 8th of May come hell or high water, you're going to have to leave. And I'm not saying that they must be thrown on the road. You're going to provide them with a timeline. And you know, move that the goalpost enough to move. Yes? A who the dirty man, yeah. Yes, you see? That is the type of response. That is the type of response that I know that some are going to come with. Sit down there, wait. Sit down there, wait for government. Let me tell you this. Talk about dirty man. Let me tell you this. And I'm repeating this for those of you who are just joining me. I know of a church that opened the church to shelter for people to come in there. And the people were having sex in the church, defecating on the floor. Stay in a what? Stay in a what? Set the timeline. Provide the assistance. You have to leave. Because if you don't do that, for the next 10 years, some of these people will stay in the school. Some of them will die in that school. They will not move. Some people will stay there for the rest of their life. So long as the school exists, them take it, make them yard. Them take it, make them yard, them have them children there, them do everything there, and it become their home. And that the dirty man I say. That you must respect yourself. You have to encourage psychological independence, not abandonment, but empowerment, because the goal of any system should be to make itself unnecessary. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. They are endowed by their creator with certain unalienable rights. Among them, the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And it is to secure these rights why government exists. The system must not create dependency. The system must make itself unnecessary. That's when you know you have a system that is working. So let's be clear. This is not about cruelty. I'm not being cruel. I want to provide clarity. Not cruelty. Clarity. Human beings are not meant to remain in shelters. That's what it is called. Shelter. Human beings don't live in shelters. We are builders. We are movers. Some of us nomadic. We are survivors. If you are in a shelter, something wrong with your life. Something is wrong if you are still in a shelter. Something wrong. Look into yourself, man. So when survival turns into stagnation, we must ask not just what failed around us, but what is failing within us. You have been looking at yourself. Something wrong when your survival turns into stagnation, when you become stagnant and you can't move out of the shelter. You must stop looking out and start looking in. Something wrong with your life. How did I get to the point where a school me living at? And I'm comfortable with that? Because you see, in the end, no system can save a people. There is no system that can save a people who refuse to save themselves. I have been trying to help a young man. I don't know if he's listening. For 2 years, I give him a little space to stay. 2 years. And after 2 years, 24 months, he can't move. You can't save someone who no want to save themselves. All time people tell you, you will carry the donkey to the water. You can't force him to drink. If you have a daughter, you know, in the Bible, the prodigal son, father, gave the boy in piece of food and sent him out. You can't save somebody who no want to save themselves. You are going to frustrate yourself. Leave them alone. Leave them alone. You will get mad trying to save people from madness. And you're going to need your mind. So don't lose your mind over people who know business with their mind. You're going to need your mind. There is no storm, no matter how powerful, that should have the final word on human dignity and human capacity. No storm has the final, no storm have the final word. The people are in this state they're in because they have failed themselves. You know, I chose to spend a little time on this because it is the life that I have kind of lived and served, you know. As I said to you, there's a young man that I know that I'm trying to help 2 years. You know, there's a boy that I took one day, gave him a job, and the boy, 10 o'clock, the boy in bed. Every day you go there, young man, you have to start work at 7 o'clock. Why, sir? Why, sir? You know, you're going to have to leave now. No system can save a people who refuse to save themselves. Shelters are meant to be temporary. Shelters are a bridge between crisis and recovery. Shelters are not the destination. Shelters are not a lifestyle. The people ought not to be there because it is not a shelter. And that is because survival systems outlive survival behavior. We have to move beyond shelter to responsibility, to dignity, and to the human condition. That's the problem we have in those shelters. No one else is looking at it from this standpoint. We ask about government systems, but we must turn the lens inward. It is because the people have learned dependence, because of prolonged reliance on external support. It weakens their individual initiative. Up, you mighty race, you can accomplish what you will. Get up. Get up, man. The Bible and God help those who help themselves. It's not because the people are incapable. It is because over time, external support reshape their behavior and turn them into dependence. If you don't wean your baby off the breast, it will suck for 10 years, you know. and your body will continue producing milk. You have to take the baby off of the breast, and all when it cry, you wean it, deliberately do so, because the child now needs to move through the stages of development. You can't allow aid to become routine. Who feed these people in the school? Is the government still a feed them? I wonder. And I pay them light bill and them water. Aid cannot become routine, because when aid becomes the routine, urgency fades. Urgency fades. Mothers know that. You can't have a 16-year-old boy and you're washing him on the pant. What type of parenting is that? You go under the boy bedroom, go spread up in bed every day. How am I going to learn? Yes? And your daughter who is 17, are you still cook and do everything for her? No. If you provide structure, then self-structure erodes. It is the sociology of dependence, and we must not do it in this country. First of all, we don't have the resources to do it. But politics is part of what is messing us up. Because what support must do is to stabilize you. Support is not a substitute for you. And anybody sit down and depend on government to mind them, then an ambition. You must find yourself within the system that the government creates. Government and your papa. Government and your daddy. But these are some of the questions we don't want to deal with these matters, you know. Because it affects some people electorally. You provide support to stabilize people. It's not a substitute. And if you can have sex, you can work. If you have free time for sex, you must have free time to go look work. If you can't find a work, you create one for yourself. Look how much land we have in Jamaica. $500 a pound for yam. Can't even get none to buy a Coronation Market. A sweet potato. You go into some communities in Jamaica, you can't even get a bungalow callaloo to buy. People them sit down and wait. Go buy one hoe or one fork. Go down a radar. Seed down there and go put something in the ground. Higglers will come from all over Jamaica, come buy it from you. Government is not aid, is not food for the poor. If you have energy to indulge, then you must have the capacity to put in some effort, man. What is the plan that you have? Yeah, so the hurricane came, you don't have no plan? Human beings by nature are survivors. There was a time when men lived in the Stone Age. You think we had matches to catch fire? We rub stones together till it blaze. You think we always had life like this? Where is the I'm not trying to condemn anyone. I'm not condemning anyone at all. I'm confronting a reality. So when the survival instinct in you stalls, something has interrupted the will to rise. How many people on this live know what I'm talking about? You have been knocked down in life. Some of you have suffered failures, relationship failures. Husband walk out on you, wife walk out on you. You have experienced death in your family, loss of job. Haven't you picked yourself up, man? Is there any person listening to me this evening that have not had some setback in their life? What did it do for you? Many of you are better because of the setbacks you have had. Many of you are where you are today because of the tragedies that you have been through in your life. I myself, if I should tell you my life and my story, you think it has been easy for me? You know how much night I go to my bed hungry? You know I was homeless at one time. Right? You have to fight, man. You can't give up. Pick yourself up from off the ground and push forward. Something has interrupted the will to rise. It's about human agency, and government must not take that away. I beg you, don't take it away from the people. If you take away the human agency from people, you're not helping them. Because freedom and responsibility are not inseparable. And where you enjoy freedom, it must come with some responsibility. To be human is not just to exist, it's to choose. You can't just live. It involves the choices you make to act, to respond, to build meaning, even in adversity. The Apostle Paul was on his way to Rome when his ship got into difficulty and it mashed up at sea. And the Apostle Paul said not one life will be lost. The people swam to shore on broken pieces. You can make it on broken pieces if you try. But you must try. You must try. Try and try, try and try. You will succeed at last. Get up and do something, man. I don't want to shame anyone. I want to awaken something in you. Is it possible that some individuals, long before the storm, build no foundation? Because you don't plan for the storm when the storm comes in. You have to plan for the storm before the storm. And as I said before, the storm did not create the crisis. What the storm did was to reveal that these people are in a crisis.